Let's go, Dodgers. Let's go. Let's go, Dodgers. Let's go. Woo! The Dodgers have won the National League pennant. That's right. They have defeated the New York Mets in 6 games to advance to the World Series in 2024. I can hardly believe it. Dodger fans are celebrating across the world. I'm here to tell you how they won the series. How exactly did they win this year's NLCS? I'm here to tell you about it. Hey, this is Mike Nelson of Dodgers Digest. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the almost 12% of you, the ones that are watching these videos. We're not getting thousands of you watching every single video that we upload, but 88% of you have not hit that subscribe button yet. You want to make sure you subscribe. Myself and Brad J are bringing you everyday Dodger videos, of course, throughout this week and even in the offseason, hopefully as World Series champions. The Dodgers just 4 wins away, and we got a goal of reaching 2,000 subscribers before the World Series starts this Friday. So you got to help us out. Hit the subscribe button. Tell your Dodger fan friends and also your baseball friends that of course like baseball, to hit the subscribe button and help out a couple cool Dodger fans. Let's get right into it. Of course, the Dodgers are NL pennant champions. That's right. They won the pennant tonight, winning 10-5 against the New York Mets, Game 6 of the NLCS. Of course, what was kind of crazy, before I did this video and even while the game was going on, I was thinking about how, the Dodgers have not won the National League at home since 1988. It's kind of crazy. The Dodgers, of course, have been in the World Series since 88 3 times in 2017, 2018, and 2020, 3 times since 88. But in those 3 wins, all of them were on the road. 17 was in Chicago, 18 in Milwaukee, and of course 2020 was during the bubble here, not at Dodger Stadium. So kind of crazy to think that it took so long for Dodger fans to celebrate a pennant win at home, but it happened finally tonight, Sunday night. Everybody in LA is definitely celebrating. It's going to be a crazy night down here for sure, with everybody really going crazy for the Dodgers. Finally winning the pennant at home and advancing to a historic World Series, right, against the New York Yankees. This is a historic World Series against the Yankees. Like they talked about on the Fox postgame, the Yankees and Dodgers matchup is only, it's happened almost as much as the Celtics-Lakers matchup in their respective finals, right? So the Yankees, Dodgers, Celtics, Lakers, these are basically the 2 biggest rivalries in sports in the United States. And to think it was 43 years the last time these 2 teams played in the World Series is pretty crazy that it's been so long. That's what really boggles my mind. How many years have gone by since both teams, played in the World Series? And yeah, it's finally happening. A historic, run for the Dodgers. This team has made history once again with, just the kind of team that they have. They were expected to be here. Can't be too surprised, but what is surprising, at least in my opinion, personally, is all the injuries this team had to deal with, especially in the pitching department, right? I mean, the pitching department has been absolutely, beat up this year with everybody going down at some point and some pitchers going down and never coming back. But the Dodgers were somehow able to overcome, those injuries, and it took a historic performance. Kind of something that I talked about in before this series started, that it was going to take a historic performance for the Dodgers to kind of make up the pitching, right, which of course has been a struggle for the Dodgers with all the injuries. And even in this series, it definitely was a struggle at times, having to start a bullpen game again tonight, but still able to get it done. They basically, the Dodgers were able to chase Manaea out of this game early, and I think that really helped out. It really took pressure off the team for sure. I think that was a big moment for sure, getting Manaea out of this game. And who had a lot to do with getting Sean Manaea out of this game? That was, of course, Tommy Edman, the NLCS MVP. Look at these numbers for Tommy Edman in this series. It was more than well-deserved, the MVP award for the NLCS. I mean, look at this. The guy hit over 400 in this series. He had an RBI in almost every game except Game 5. Think about that. He had an RBI in every game but Game 5 of the NLCS. And tonight, 4 RBIs. That's right, 4 RBIs, including a double that knocked in a couple runs in the first inning. It was absolutely huge with 2 strikes. And, that was huge because the Dodgers were trailing in the first inning. I remember the Mets took a 1-0 lead in this game. It was the first lead change of the entire series. Kind of crazy. They took until Game 6 to have a lead change. But anyway, 4 RBIs in this game. Then, of course, added on a 2-run homer. And was absolutely amazing how Tommy Edman, stepped up. NLCS MVP, 11 hits, 11 RBIs, tying, the franchise postseason record that was set by Corey Seager in 2020, 4 years ago. And that's what it took, somebody like this coming out of nowhere, because Tommy Edman, come on, the Dodgers did not trade for him for his bat. They did not. And they ended up getting a pretty hot bat in return, which is pretty crazy. With Miguel Rojas going down, in the last series, Edman had to kind of step in and be that everyday shortstop, and he has done an amazing job. More than amazing, right? I mean, the guy has been an amazing fielder. He has been, really hot at the plate, to say the least. Historically hot at the plate. Franchise record tying. I mean, think about the performance that Tommy Edman had tonight. 4 RBIs in Game 6 of the NLCS. That is something he's going to tell his grandchildren when he gets older. Because that's an amazing performance, to say the least, and really happy for Tommy Edman. I think he doesn't get enough credit with all the stars the Dodgers have. We get lost in Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman as well, who's also a star on this team who hasn't even played in the last couple games due to his injury. We always talk about those guys, but we kind of forget about Tommy Edman, Will Smith. These guys really also are important. Will Smith getting a big 2-run homer. At the time, making it 6-1, you think, oh, that's not important. It was important because the Mets got a 2-run homer themselves with Vientos hitting a home run, making it 6-3. So had Will Smith not hit that 2-run homer, it would have been a 1-run game for the Mets, with Vientos hitting the 2-run homer for the Mets. So that 2-run homer, was big insurance, to say the least, for the Dodgers in tonight's game. That insurance runs were absolutely paramount in the entire series. The Dodgers never settled, when they took the lead, right? You see that all the time in baseball. Teams kind of settle, they kind of take the gas off the pedal and don't go for the kill, don't go for the throat. We saw the Padres do that, right, in the last series. They didn't go for the throat, and that's why the Dodgers defeated them. So the Dodgers didn't do that, right? They went for the throat the whole series. All their wins were blowout wins, dominant wins in commanding fashion, leaving the Mets with basically no opportunity in the 8th and 9th inning to mount a comeback. In all the Dodger wins, basically in the 4 wins in this series, the Mets never had those opportunities where you think, oh, maybe they'll tie it up here late in the game. They never had that chance. They never had that chance because this team put them away early, and they had to, right? Because they knew they were going to be up against it in terms of their pitching, and they couldn't have their pitchers be in all these stressful situations, and of course you're going to have stressful situations. I mean, the Dodgers did lose 2 games in this series. It's not like they swept the Mets. I think they would have swept the Mets though had they been at 100% in terms of the pitching, right? I mean, come on. If Jack Flaherty doesn't have, of course, was dealing with an illness in his last series, we don't know. In the last game, his last start, we don't know if Flaherty had not been dealing with that illness, would they have won on Friday? That would have been a big question mark. And then, of course, the injuries, right? They would have not had to start 2 bullpen games, with Glasnow going down and Gavin Stone being out for the year. These guys, were important pieces of the Dodgers rotation throughout the year. So if all these guys would have been part of this team in this series, and even part of the series against San Diego, I really wonder. I don't know what you guys think. Comment below. Do you really think this Dodger team would have lost any games with all those guys in uniform? I don't know. They might have went 7-0 or at least go, 7-1, 7-2 maybe. I would say 7-1. They might have, they would have run the table against this Mets team, and they probably, maybe would have lost 1 game against San Diego. It would have been a much easier route because it took the maximum against San Diego and it took almost the maximum against the Mets, right? Basically, the team went 7-4 to make it here, right? It took a lot. It took a lot out of these guys. It took a lot of games. It was a lot of pressure in some instances, and even they were facing elimination against San Diego in the last series. Let's not forget this team was facing elimination. Down 2-1, backs against the wall. A lot of people were writing this team off. And they were able to pull out a blowout winning Game 4, again with the bullpen, not giving San Diego any hope for a comeback. And then, of course, in Game 5, a close one but they shut the Padres offense down, and that was more than enough, a 2-0 win. But tonight, it was all about, the offense. Once again, the Dodgers, I wanted to kind of highlight that tonight as well. Historic offense, to say the least. Take a look at these stats. I mean, the Dodgers, I think they kind of made a mistake on the broadcast. Correct me if I'm wrong. They said it was the most runs in a playoff series in baseball history. They were actually wrong. It was actually the most runs in a National League playoff series, because you take a look at the stats. The 1960 Yankees had 55 runs in a losing effort. Hard to believe they lost that series in 1960. They have the record. The Red Sox had 51 in 2007. And then, of course, the Red Sox had 47 in 99. So the Dodgers had 46. This is a National League record now. Most runs in a National League playoff series, ever. Absolutely historic. 46 runs. I think the Mets got 26, if I'm not mistaken. 20 more runs than the Mets. Giving up 20 runs is a lot in a playoff series. That's already a lot. But guess what the Dodgers did? They countered it by having a historic offensive output in 6 games. You got to tip your hat. That's why I got my Dodger hat tonight, because, these guys were absolutely amazing. And, you just hope that offense can continue against the Yankees, because it's going to have to continue. I think the Dodgers pitching is always going to be an issue. I'm just looking at it objectively. I think it will be an issue moving in the next round. They're going to be facing a tougher lineup in the Yankees, and they are probably going to give up runs. So they're going to just have to score more runs and hope the Yankees don't pitch well, which is all you hope for, that the Yankees don't get hot, and their pitchers don't get hot, because their pitchers get hot. The Dodgers could be in trouble. Got to hope that they don't, and the Dodgers just continue to score 6, 8, 10 runs in every single game, and just win 4 games, right? It sounds easy on paper, sounds easy saying it, but it's going to be a very fun series, very difficult series. They could go 7, regardless of what happens. It could be one of those long series that's memorable. And I'm just hoping for a good series. Baseball fans, we want a good series. If the Dodgers sweep in 4 games, I'm happy with that as well. I want the Dodgers just to win 4 games, no matter, if it takes, 4 games or 5 games. But just win. Win the World Series, right? Win the World Series. Make sure to subscribe, and let's go Dodgers.